Hey guys, Nadia here. My assignment today is going to be about the employment status of veteran population 18 years and over. I always hear about veterans coming home from service and they're not able to find a job. They need help to survive. So I just decided I saw this question, I saw this data set and figured it might be pretty interesting to see the actual numbers and the statistics. So this is done between 2010 and 2019. So for my first sheet, I'm gonna look at the veterans that were actually employed when they came out of service. So I'm gonna put veteran service period in columns, and employed goes into the rows section. It comes up as a bar graph. However, I would like to do it as a pie chart, so I'm gonna select it over here and it turns into a pie chart. To get the pie chart to be a normal size, I can go to standard and put it to entire view. That makes it a little easier on the eye, and I'm also gonna change the size to make it a little bit bigger and clearer for us to see. What I would like to do as well is just label. So I'm gonna put employed into the label column. That way we get the numbers of the people that were actually employed from the different wars that they went to. They were able to get employment when they come back. What I'm doing now is going to rename the sheet, and I'm going to rename it employed employed veterans. I'm also going to rename the sheet. Go to sheet 1, right click, rename, and I'm just going to call this employed just to keep it simple. So we have that. Now I'm going to do a second sheet for the unemployed veterans, and this one is going to be a bar graph. So I'm going to use veteran service period, put this in the columns, and unemployed, I'm putting that into the rows. Just gives us our bar graph. Now I'd also like to label this because I like the labels. It helps you to just see exactly what's what just by one look, looking at it just one time. I'm also gonna add some color to it as well. So I use veteran service period and I drop it into the colors marks, and that gives us the colors, make it a little bit more distinguishable of knowing who's who. We have Gulf War era 1, era 2, and so on. So we can see with one shot the amount of people that was unemployed from the different wars that they went out to. I'm going to rename this sheet unemployed veterans. Okay, and I'm going to also rename my sheet unemployed. One second. Okay, I'm going to do one more one more visualization, and this is going to be about not in labor force. This is one of the options that we have here, is people that are not in the labor force but they're not unemployed. They are just not necessarily looking for a job at the time. So I'm going to put the year so that we can see the time period for this one, and not in labor force. So this gives us a line graph. With this line graph, it only shows us one, but I'm going to take the veteran service period and bring it over color, and that brings up all of the other services, the Gulf War era 1, Gulf War era 2, etc., and shows us people that was not in the labor force, so they were not employed or unemployed over this time period. I'm going to name the sheet, rename the sheet not in labor force. Oops. And I'm also going to rename other sheet, right click, rename, not in labor force. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is a dashboard. Scroll over to new dashboard, open up a new dashboard, and all of my sheets are on the side. So what I'm gonna do is just add them one by one. Employed goes in here. Unemployed, I'll put that underneath. And not in labor, I can just stick it right here. So we have all three visualizations together. We could look at all of the data that we want. Cool thing about it is, I'm gonna just take this out, that we could look at any one era that we would want to. So let's say we look at Gulf Era 2, that point in time. This shows us that 780,000 veterans were employed at that time. We have this line graph shows us that there wasn't really much that was not in the labor force, and unemployment for veterans was 64,700 all over 2010 to 2019, which is the period that we're looking at. We could look at it for the Gulf Era 1, whichever one that we want to. So it does seem to me that veterans were employed, there were jobs for them to get when they came out. It does vary over the years, because the unemployed veterans during the World Gulf War Era 2 was the highest. It is pretty high, but it's not terrible. The employed veterans is up there as well. We also have the option to put this as a PowerPoint screen so that you could see it clearer. You could see it better and clearer, which I thought was really cool. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this visualization lesson. Thank you.